to help you produce a smooth curve. Now, once you've done your circles, your straight lines and your circles in a constant pressure structure, constant weight structure, the next thing to do is to look. So how do the techniques we learn as formal calligraphers or scribes affect the way that lettering artists can work? So when we're learning calligraphy, formal calligraphy, we're always told to stay within the lines. So I'm working with a bilinear construct here, and I'm just going to write a textualis letter. And I'm sort of playing with the letter a little bit. And then I'm going to write a fraktur version of the letter. And I'm also going to do a pointed pen letter form. So I'll use the same letter T. Now, I'm working within the confines of these two lines, the baseline and the cap height. Obviously, there's an X height in there. But if you're starting off as a lettering artist, you don't need to get all these expensive tools. The most important thing that you can do is get a good pencil. So this is a Derwent 6B pencil. And just learning to control the pencil will dramatically improve the way that you approach hand lettering. So let's look at these shapes that we have here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to obviously scale the height. So I'm drawing a square to match the circle. And I know the thickest part of the circle of the curve is here. So I'm going to try and keep the weight there. And I'm going to vary the pressure on the pencil I'm going to add another line just to create a little bit of weight. So already this shows that there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of control needed. Now the same thing goes for the copperplate script T. No pressure, pressure, no pressure, no pressure, pressure, little ball serif, pressure, release, and pressure out. So all of this comes down to tool control. Basic simple exercises which hand letterers really should know. So how do we deal with this? First of all, start off with producing lines of even thickness. So I call these constant weight lines. Some people call them full pressure lines. I find when you use that word pressure, people tend to feel that it's pressing hard lines. And then you try these in lots of different permutations. So we have lines which are perpendicular to the baseline, lines which are on a 55-degree angle. So I'm staying on these angles. And all these grids are available via Shopify. And some of them are also available on the pascribe.us site. So you can download these and work with them. Notice I'm working with a grid. I'm not guessing at the height of the lines. Always work with a grid because it really helps you to understand how the lines work, where they're sitting, and a higher order of accuracy between the structures. So once you've gone through these straight lines, the next thing is to learn how to plot a shape in a curve, in a box. So I call these tangential touching points. So if I'm making a circle, I would aim for the points. And it's a really good technique that I use for this. I dot the line in. Dot, 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 dash, 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 until the dashes turn into one shape. So that really helps with sort of plotting the lines. To help you produce a smooth curve. Now, once you've done your circles, your straight lines and your circles in a constant pressure structure, constant weight structure, the next thing to do is to look at variable pressure. Now, I always tell my students, when you're doing the constant weight line, try and write as lightly as possible. So I'm going to touch the X height and touch the baseline. So that's really, really light work. Now I'm going to change to the 55. And the other thing to remember is, how hard are you pressing and how fast are you writing? So try and stay on those lines. The next thing to look at is how these lines work in the context of pressure and release. So we're going to add a little pressure at the top, release in the middle, and a little pressure at the bottom, so we get a line with entasis. So entasis is just this wasting that curves to the middle. So if we were to do this with a pen, you can see here how I applied a little bit of pressure. And you see how the line is sort of wasting in the middle. So this technique is really, really useful. And it's a lot more complex than I'm sort of leading on here, because there are lots of other things that you can do with this. There we go. So, always, it took me 4 lines to get to the weight that I wanted. So now that I've actually done this, I sort of know what I'm aiming for. So next is to turn the tool to the side so that you can get it on the 55. Remember, press, release, press. I want a lot more variability in the line there. And of course, this then gives you a lot of scope to build if you're doing hand lettering. So let's say you're going to hand letter a letter A. So you can either press, release, press. Notice I'm moving my hand, so I've changed the position of my hand. So that's a pretty wide A. And once you have that shape, you can then go in and alter the shape either by adding lines or by building up what you've already done. So we're going to sketch these lines in because we're not writing anymore. We're basically constructing. And of course, I'm also using my knowledge of Roman capitals. So I know that this line is thinner than that line. And having a working knowledge of scripts is really important. If we were going to do something like a series on copperplate script, then I would always mark off. So of course, you can't really talk while you're writing. So I hope this has given you a really interesting look at how script works and how all you really need is a pencil. So you don't need to run out and buy expensive tools. You don't need to run out and buy expensive brushes. And from this kind of training, as soon as you pick up a calligraphic tool, you'll find that your ability to control that tool and to get the right line of that tool will increase dramatically. So I hope that's helped you and have fun lettering.
Ooh.